Hello and Happy New Year, my magical friend. Thank you so much for joining me in today's Pick a Card reading. And it's a special one because this is my first reading of 2022. Not only for you on my YouTube channel, but also for myself. I decided to start this year with a group energy reading. And what typically happens in these is that regardless of which pile is chosen, there's a common thread that kind of weaves through all of the readings. And it's really fascinating for me as a reader because some of these decks, for example, the Crystal Ally Oracle, it has more than 80 cards. And I shuffle these really, really thoroughly to try to avoid any lingering energies from one pile affecting the reading of the next pile. And yet, it's like I said, it's been a trend for all of my YouTube readings that cards in common will kind of pop up for all three piles. And so I tend to see those common cards as representing things that all of us collectively are going through, kind of like a shared experience in these fleshly suits that we call human bodies. Anyhow, the last time I did a group reading, the message that sort of wound throughout all of the different piles was a message of honoring our truth. I kept seeing crystal cards of the throat chakra, which represents confidence in speaking and self-expression and creative fulfillment. And so I'm curious to see whether that message, which was so pertinent to us in December 2021, whether that's going to come forward in this reading today for kind of a year at a glance, or like what energies should we be aware of and work on and maybe manifest or maybe get through as we go into 2022. So yeah, just wanted to start this reading off by sharing my appreciation for you, everyone who watches these videos, especially those who like and comment and subscribe. That really helps me stay motivated to keep doing YouTube videos like this. And I really hope that you have a beautiful, blessed, magical new year, that 2022 brings you health, happiness, fortune, creative fulfillment, maybe some happy, exciting surprises. And with that, let's get right into it. So just like the last reading I did on YouTube, instead of straining yourself and overthinking it to choose pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3, I just want you to have a look at the pendants I've made here. These are all pieces of jewelry I made myself and put into my Etsy shop called The Art of Gems. Just have a look at these little miniature works of art and pick a pendant. If you're drawn to this one, it's pile 1. If you're drawn to this one, pile 2. And if you like this little guy, pile 3. And of course, whoops, almost forgot to mention before I turn off the camera and start this, the links to the piles you've picked are in the video description below. See you in your reading. All right, you chose the Dragon of Enlightenment. This pendant is one of my newer creations, and it's made using a vintage Tibetan bead that actually has a dragon all the way around the bead. Isn't that cool? It was made in the early 1900s, and I found it in an online antique gallery. And I fell so in love with it that I bought two, one for my Etsy shop and one for myself. And just look at the detail, the way the Tibetan dragon's face is here, how its body kind of snakes around the bead, and the tail detail is there right by the face. And almost like every square millimeter of this bead is covered in beautiful embossed detail. So the reason I called it Dragon of Enlightenment is that in the Tibetan tradition, dragons are not seen as like a ferocious, predatory, dangerous creature. In their mythology, dragons represent the guide who takes us towards our highest possibility. The dragon is a benevolent entity who appears to us when we need protection and when we're seeking enlightenment, to help us stay true to ourselves and continue on the highest possible path. So I've paired that bead with this giant lapis lazuli, and it's an all-natural lapis lazuli. It hasn't been dyed or artificially produced in any way. So the stripes and bands of different shades of blue and navy are completely natural. And doesn't that just look like a little earth? Like, imagine if the oceans of the world and the different continents and islands all formed kind of in bands that go around the globe. I just love it. So lapis lazuli, it's a gemstone of the third eye, and wearing it, connecting with it, meditating with it, adding it to your collection is a great way to bring in the energy of intuition and self-knowledge and enlightenment in general. So yeah, if you were drawn to this piece, kind of the first energetic clue as to what 2022 is going to be for you is that this is your year of enlightenment. This is the year where you're going to get to know yourself more deeply. Your third eye is going to be probably revealing some new talents and some new, artistic visions and mystical visions, perhaps. Maybe some psychic abilities are going to awaken. You're going to become an even more refined version of yourself. And in my belief, ultimately what enlightenment is the realization that you are the ultimate version of yourself, that you are already the you've been trying to become, and fearlessly radiating that. And of course, it doesn't mean that there's no room for improvement and that you should just give up on trying to better yourself. It just means you realize that nobody else out there has the answers, that you have your own answers, and you tap into that infinite wellspring of ideas and understanding and wisdom. Anyhow, I'm going to keep this visible throughout your reading, but I've set aside the little purple deck because we'll save that for the final card of the day. As you've probably heard, I'm giving this deck a really good shuffle. Before the last shuffle, of course, I will set the tone for the reading by playing some singing bowl, just to enhance the energy in the room. And as you listen to this high frequency sound, I'd like you to set the intention that whatever messages come through in this reading come through from your highest source of guidance and to serve your highest good. Don't think of it as me giving you a message. Think of it as I'm just here to interpret the message existence wants you to receive. I noticed the singing bowl did some accidental ringing this time. You know when the sound isn't a smooth flowing sound, when it kind of bumps and rings? I try to avoid that when I play the singing bowl, and so there might be a challenge or an obstacle or something kind of making you question yourself or question your energy right now. Of course, we'll see that when we look at the cards. And now they feel ready. So what we're going to look at is a card for the present moment, which is literally right now when you watch this video. The past, what we're going to look at is going back into last month and the future will be looking forward towards the end of this month. So if you're watching this video pretty quickly after it's uploaded, this is kind of like you're setting the tone for the new year reading. But if you're watching this video like weeks later or months later or years later, don't worry. It's still a message for you at this point in your life now. Time isn't really linear as we've come to believe it is. This moment exists in the past and in the present and in the future and always. All right. So we always start with the present moment. The card of love reversed, represented by rose quartz, is showing that at this moment in time, you're feeling like love is missing from your life. And this can be self-love, romantic love, family love, friendships. But basically, when the card of love is reversed, it refers to a loneliness that you're experiencing. Looking at the details within the card, it's a water element card, which is the element of fluidity. Water represents going with the flow, surrendering to the current, kind of ruling with the changes that come in the tides of life. And when a water element card appears reverse, it shows that there are changes that have happened within your relationships that not only you wouldn't choose if given the choice, but also that you're resisting. When water element is there in a reversed position, it shows that kind of the obstacle that you're overcoming right now, the challenge that you're facing, is how to accept changes and how to continue to feel fulfilled even when things happen in life that make you think the universe doesn't care or other people don't care or you're misunderstood. When rose quartz is there, but in a reversed position, this would be a great time for you to start practicing more self-love, to start reminding yourself that regardless of who may come and who may go, whether it's a breakup or a falling out with friends or somebody passes away and you no longer have access to the physical love that you used to have with them, whenever these kinds of roadblocks occur in life and suddenly you feel that lack, it's a very, very important time to give yourself the love that you need. We're so conditioned in our society to feel like we need other people to tell us that we're really good in order to actually be really good, that we need that external validation in order to kind of have the right to appreciate ourselves. I've heard artists say that, they're scared to have a gallery exhibit go up because the critics might give them a bad review or people might not understand what they're trying to show. I find the kind of self-confidence that we get when we fully appreciate what we do and kind of like it might sound crass, but like when we just don't care whether other people like us or not because we like ourselves, that's the kind of love that we need in order to be able to go with the flow when these changes occur. If somebody leaves our lives, to be able to say, you know what, that's fine. We're no longer harmonious together. We're no longer resonant together. Or if somebody passes away, to understand that the soul who existed temporarily in that body has other places to be and other experiences to enjoy and other lessons to learn, to be able to let them go without feeling like life will never be good again. And of course, honoring the truth that life will never be the same again, but understanding that there still are ways to connect on a spiritual level and that the journey doesn't come to an end just because we no longer perceive it in a physical way. Anyhow, it does show that at the beginning, or in the right now moment, there is some sadness, there is some loneliness, there is a loss that you're feeling. And of course, it doesn't necessarily just mean that you've lost somebody or lost a relationship or that you've had love taken away. This can also be the kind of energy that's built up for a long time, but now you're ready to face it. So for example, if you've been alone and isolated, maybe choosing to experience some solitude, but now you're starting to feel like you need more contact, you need other people, or like you've neglected yourself and you need more self-love and self-appreciation. This card appearing in the present is to say just that. It's time to bring the love energy of rose quartz into your reality. What's funny, I just want to share a little personal thing because you might relate to it since rose quartz is the reversed card. When I first got into crystal healing about, I guess, 15 years ago, I didn't feel any draw towards rose quartz at all. I thought it's too soft, it's too pink, it's too girly, it's too basic, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I thought my goal in life is not to manifest love, it's to manifest enlightenment and spiritual awakening and to become empowered. And what's really funny is that the longer I work with crystals, the more I've come to understand that wasn't true. That was just my perception. There's nothing basic or ordinary or plain or boring about manifesting love. And you may have noticed in the last few videos I've made, I'm wearing this big giant rose quartz ring that I made just by taking a super cheap like fake gold setting and gluing in a big rose quartz bead. But I wear this almost every day now as a reminder to radiate love, to share love with all the people in my life and my cats and the animals and the world and myself. One way to rectify this reversed card for you would be to similarly remind yourself every day that love is important. And the way to feel the most love is to become love. Decide whenever you leave your place that you're going to radiate love, that you're going to shine from the heart, whether that's just smiling at people on the street who look like they could use a smile from a stranger, whether that's donating to charities, however you feel drawn to share your love. The more love you give, the more love you receive. It's like the opposite of spending money and then seeing a depletion in your bank balance. When it comes to love, give it away, share it freely, send it to everyone. The more you give, the more you'll have. It's a self-replenishing reservoir. Your heart will never run out of love. Ask any parent who has more than one kid, when you had your second child, did you start loving your first child a little bit less? And they will think that's a crazy question because mothers will say there's enough love in their hearts for all of the kids. And animal people like me, there's enough love in my heart for all the cats of the world, not just the 2 who I've adopted, and all the animals. And when it comes to spiritual practice, whichever religious tradition you look into, the love of a benevolent deity, whether that's God or Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin, whichever deities we choose to connect with, there will be something in the scriptures describing the infinite love that they have for humanity, for everyone, for everything. You will never feel the loss of one individual when you decide to become love for all individuals collectively. And the meditation I'd recommend for this, see the water element in this card. The next time you have a moment to meditate, lie down in a really comfortable position, maybe tuck yourself in with a blanket if you feel like it, But just lie down and imagine that you're floating on the surface of an infinite sea, that you're very safe, that these waters are loving and nurturing and supportive, and that the current is only going to carry you to a place you want to go. You don't need to swim, you don't need to struggle, you don't need to worry. You are safe in those waters. And imagine that as you're lying, floating on that surface of water, you're kind of melting into that water. You're becoming one with it. There's like a liquid in your body merging with that liquid in the water. And that the way the water supports all life, that water is like the element that gives life to this world. Imagine yourself becoming that you are here to quench the thirst of everything and everyone, that you are the fountain of youth, and you are the wellspring of creative ideas, that basically you are fluid, and you will feel so fulfilled, so overjoyed. That will really help you go with the flow of life and let go of any resistance to change that may be happening. If we look to your past card, the divine connection represented by the beautiful crystal of amethyst is right side up. And what that tells us is that over the past month, you've really connected to your own inner source of wisdom. It's like you're hearing the messages that are meant for you. You feel connected to the divine feminine. You feel connected to all of existence. And that's probably why you're ready to fully become love and to face any deficits you may have perceived or experienced. And looking to the future, it doesn't get more fierce than the Venadonite card representing power. You see this warrior woman whose solar plexus is literally on fire, and she's manifesting these fireballs in both of her hands in the warrior pose, ready to tackle any challenge life may bring her. This fire element card represents passion, action, success, achievement. When the solar plexus is activated like this, that's your chakra of manifestation and creation and willpower and self-drive. So what this shows is that the process you'll be going through to awaken to that higher love and to become that emanation of love, it's not just a sweet, gentle, ooh, I feel good kind of a loving feeling. It's also going to feed what you need in your life to have that confidence. Remember that example I gave of somebody ready to exhibit their art but kind of afraid that other people won't like it? When you become love, you understand that whatever you share with the world, whether other people like it or not, is irrelevant. It's your mission to take your gifts and to take your strengths and to take what you do best and share it freely. Imagine being a warrior, but instead of going into battle, you're going into service. Like, how can I shine this light that I have in a way that other people will be benefited? Kind of like it or not, she's coming to help, and she, of course, represents you. Now, elementally speaking, we have air element, which is the element of intelligence, wisdom, communication, and sharing. Water element, which is the element of nurturing, love, taking care of others, and service. And we have the fire element, which is the element of creativity, ambition, success, achievement, enthusiasm. If you hear that somebody has a fiery personality, you know that is a passionate firecracker of a person. What we don't see in your 3 cards here is the element of earth. And earth is the element of balance, stability, practicality, basically like getting shit done. And when we don't see the earth element, it does show that one other focus for you, as well as becoming love and manifesting love and awakening that water energy. Something else that's going to be important for you as you come more into your power over this next month. We'll be taking care of the necessities of life, keeping your place clean, keeping your paperwork in order, doing what needs to be done when you need to do it. You've become a wonderful communicator. You're going to become a very passionate creator. Feeling this love awaken more deeply within you, it's going to be important to nurture yourself physically as well. I'd also recommend taking a healing bath, picking your favorite aromatherapy fragrance, filling a nice tub of water, soaking in it. While that is deeply connecting with the water element, it's also going to help you feel supported and strengthened in your earth element, because that kind of self-care makes all the other stuff we have to do in life a bit easier. I hope this was helpful for you today. These are the main energies you're working with and dealing with and embodying at this time in life. And I'm going to turn over one card from the Illustrated Crystallery as a final message for us today. And it's called Better with Time. How incredible is this, that the Ammolite card shows a snake eating its own tail, which is a symbol of infinity. And that's very similar to the image of the dragon wrapping around the talisman that you chose, mouth right next to tail, also representing infinity. So when we see this astrological wheel filled with sacred geometry and this extremely ancient stone, the Ammolite here, when it's telling you better with time, it's bringing to mind the saying, time heals all wounds, and that whenever we're feeling a loss or grieving a loss, people will tell us, a day will come when you don't even think about this loss anymore, when you feel better. And it doesn't mean you'll ever be glad to have lost what you've lost, but it means time really does heal all wounds, and you do get better with time. And not only when it comes to healing, but also when it comes to refining yourself as an individual. The more you practice whatever art you work on, whether it's painting, drawing, sculpture, dance, vocals, playing an instrument, whatever you do, writing, whatever you do, the more you do it, the better you get. We all get better with time. And although our culture doesn't really see aging as a good thing, spiritually speaking, it really is. The longer you spend in one physical incarnation, in one body, and in one identity, the better you get at being that identity. So just like the Ammolite, which started out as a humble shell, the remnants of a little life that lived prehistorically, over the centuries and over the millennia, that shell has become not only fossilized but opalized and turned into a precious gem. So you are also becoming better with time, turning into the precious gem of your best self. And is that not the message that this talisman gave at the very beginning of the reading, that for you 2022 is the year of enlightenment and of becoming the best imaginable version of who you are? So much love to you. Thank you for watching this reading. I really hope it was enjoyable for you and that you got maybe some validation or confirmation through these cards. I look forward to seeing you in the next reading video. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to your reading. You chose pile 2 with this most magical, mystical of talismans. I absolutely love this one. If I were picking a pile, this is the pile I would choose, because this piece is one of my favorite pieces of jewelry I think I've ever made. The base is a piece of flint that I actually picked up inside a crop circle when I was in England a few years ago. And don't worry, we had the farmer's permission to be there, and we actually paid a donation to enter the field. When we connect with crop circle stone, or circle stone as some call it, what we're connecting with is the sacred geometry and the high frequency energy that's been stamped into the very earth that we walk, energizing ourselves with these ancient mystical symbols that appear, whether they're created by extraterrestrials and Arcturians, as many mystics believe, or whether there's another explanation for how they appear. To me, half the fun is in the mystery. And, you know, until you actually hold a piece of crop circle stone, you might not quite understand just how cool the vibration is. You know, I make no secret of the fact that I personally do believe in the more extraterrestrial mystical explanation for how these appear. I've had some UFO sightings throughout my life. I have felt the vortex-like energy within these formations. And if you've chosen pile 2, either you are right there with me on that wavelength, or else this is the year in which you're going to start expanding your horizons when it comes to mystic visions and insights and connecting to these higher frequencies. And just so you understand how into this stuff I am, I keep another piece of that crop circle stone on my tarot table. And this is kind of the piece I kept for myself from all my crop circle experiences. So anyhow, yeah, the talisman you chose, it's a crop circle stone that I've built this little sculptural rock garden on top of, holding in place a piece of tektite, a garnet gem, and a piece of kyanite. Tektite is a form of impact glass when a meteorite collides with the sands of the earth. And it's kind of like the less expensive variation of moldavite, very similar in frequency, but just a little bit less intense. And it represents the coming together of the energies in space and the energies down here on Earth, because it's a fusion between a meteorite and the very earth on which we walk, just like the earth inside a crop circle is a fusion between something magical and mysterious and something grounded and rooted. Tektite is really a gem that brings together extraterrestrial and terrestrial. This makes an awesome talisman if your goal is to connect with a higher frequency energy, but you also need to stay grounded and stay practical and get things done here in the physical world. Garnet is another very grounding gem. Oops, I'll have to dust this piece. That's embarrassing. You can see I haven't picked it up in a while. But yeah, garnet is a very grounding gem that energizes the root, which is our chakra for physicality, vitality, energy, stamina, and exercise. And of course, kyanite is a crystal of the third eye, which awakens our mystical insight, helps us develop psychic abilities, helps us connect with our higher guidance. If you chose this talisman, well, what am I saying if? You're watching the pile 2, so you chose this talisman. And what that tells me about you is that you are very mystical. This is a time in your life where your eyes are being opened towards possibilities that many other people would perceive as being loopy or lofty or maybe just too impractical. And so adding a little bit of garnet and some black tektite helps kind of ground that more mystical realization that you're having. Like I said, it's one of my personal favorites of all the talismans I've made. And so it's nice talking to you, pile 2. We've got stuff in common. All right, I've set the purple cards aside because I'll pick a card from that deck to conclude the reading. We're going to start with the Crystal Ally cards, but first I'll play some Singing Bowl just to cleanse the room of any energy that might be remaining left over from pile 1. So as I play the Singing Bowl, I'd like you to take a deep breath, inhale, exhale completely, and set the intention that whatever messages come through from your higher guidance to serve your highest good. I'm not going to be giving you messages in this reading. I'm just interpreting the messages your higher awareness wishes you to see in the cards. And with that, I'll give the deck one last little bit of a shuffle. Feels like it wants to be cut one more time. There. So what we're going to look at today is a card for your present, your past, and your future. Present moment will be the day that you're watching this video, maybe yesterday and tomorrow included, but really right now. The past card will go back about a month, and the future card will go forward about a month. So present, past, and future. So in the present moment, the card of healing is reversed, and it's represented by the beautiful green stone called Seraphinite. This is a storm energy card, which is the one element in the deck that combines all the 4 earth elements. We have fire represented by the ocean here, earth represented by the mountain range, air represented by the sky, and fire represented by these bolts of lightning. When your present moment card is a storm card, whether it's reversed as this was or right side up, what this shows is that right now you are in a time of transformation. So this moment in your life when you're watching this video is a time when you are changing gears a bit and deciding that you're going to do something new. I feel like you're embarking on a new adventure. So whether that's going into a new academic year, whether that means you're changing gears with regards to your studies, maybe a career change, maybe ending a relationship or beginning a relationship, there's something in your life that is absolutely uncharted territory. Like there's a kind of an explosion or a storm of change. When the card of healing is reversed in this storm element, what it's telling us is that before you get too ambitious jumping into something new, it's important to first acknowledge the wounds you've accumulated up until now and to really heal yourself so that you are fresh and ready to go into this new adventure. I'm not really feeling that this card's reversal shows that you are not healing. It's more showing what I'm feeling anyhow as I look at this card and interpret your message from existence is that a part of you is so eager to just be healed already that you might be thinking, good enough. Like, I've done my healing work. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to take on something bigger and better. And so it's kind of like you're leaving your healing unfinished. If that continues, the future card is also coming up reversed. And it's a card of sacred sounds, which is one of the cards that came up the last time I did a group reading. When sacred sound is reversed, it shows not really fully expressing yourself, not really getting your truth communicated in a way that you feel fulfilled. Still having some stage fright, still having some hesitation, maybe having a few keys that come out sounding sour if you're composing some music. And of course I say that as an analogy. I don't mean literally composing music, but your expression won't hit all the right notes. unless you do the healing work now. Going back about a month, it's nice to see the card of mindfulness right side up, because that shows you are no stranger to meditation, that you do focus on your inner work. The crystal petalite is represented here as a full moon or an aura or a halo around this beautiful figure of a Buddha. And if you look really closely, try to get it to focus here, the third eye is also a moon, which is something I find personally symbolic and very, very beautiful. I would recommend, based on this card, the next time there's a full moon and the sky is clear so you can see it, stand outside at night and do some moon gazing and visualize that your third eye is a projector, and that as you're looking at the moon, there's a beam of light emanating from your third eye, projecting that moon into the sky where it appears. And then imagine that there's a projector on the moon shining a light towards you, and that you are a projection of that lunar energy. It's one of my favorite meditations to do on a full moon night, and helps you experience oneness with that celestial body that governs our intuition in life. The air element card shows that you really have found a way to feel intellectually stimulated. The air element is the element of knowledge and speaking and academic achievement. So you're smart, pile 2. You're very intelligent. And that doesn't just mean in a formal academic setting. Of course, it can also mean doing personal research and learning for fun. So whether you're in a school path or whether you choose to do your learning at the local library or by watching instructional videos, or however you choose to do it, you're a fast learner, you're a good student, and you're quite articulate. When you choose to share what you've learned, you're able to express it. Now that goes back about a month where you've hit this new level of mindfulness. So in the present moment, the healing card reversed, it may indicate that because you have done so much work already, because you have done a lot of meditation, and you have awakened a level of mindfulness, you might kind of feel like you're done. But what this card is showing is that there is still more healing to do. And the other message I'm getting from this is that once you've healed your wounds, it's very, very possible that you've done enough of the inner work where you are no longer held back by the struggles you've experienced in life, the emotional pains, the difficulties, maybe some mistreatment from others. You've healed yourself. But the greater message on this card is that you are meant to be a healer, healing others. And so expanding your learning, expanding that mindfulness to a place where it's no longer just about you, but it's also about the world around you, and helping especially people who are struggling with things that you have overcome. It's a great time for you to come into your power and fully embody that healing energy. If you look at the character in this card, her feet are glowing, her palms are glowing, and she has this beautiful golden light in her crown chakra position. What that shows is being rooted and grounded and connected to the earth, as well as being elevated and connected to the realm beyond what we perceive physically. When the Earth Star, our connection to the world in which we live, and our crown are both working simultaneously, it represents a balance between our mystical awareness and our practical ability. And that's when the healing centers within the palms start to awaken, and we get that energy tingle in our hands when we go to do healing work with others. And it's for you to understand how that healing work applies. It could be massage therapy, it could be actually going into medicine, it could be that you're becoming a counselor or a therapist or a teacher. What I'm really seeing in your future, though, is that your work with sound and sound healing and vibrational therapy and sound medicine can be very, very effective. And so the card's reversal, it's only if you ignore this calling towards self-healing and also towards healing others. If you ignore that, it would be reversed. But if you set a strong intention to do your work, to do your healing, and to be a healing influence in the world, you will rectify that reversal. I feel like when these cards come up reverse, it's never to say you could have done this, but you didn't, and so you've lost it. It's more to say, hey, like, remember, this is what you should be doing, and if you do it, that's what you can have. So by nature of the fact that you're seeing these cards and hearing this reading, I already know you're going to achieve it. You'll be successful with it. You'll get your healing done, and you will bless the world with your sacred sounds. That can mean everything from sharing inspirational quotes on social media on a smaller scale, to doing some public speaking, playing some sacred music, maybe writing some music, even just playing a singing bowl alone in your place will elevate the frequency of your neighborhood. So in some way, sharing those sacred sounds is what you're called here to do. We see air energy, we see water energy, and we see storm energy that combines the four elements. What we don't see is earth and fire. And so to connect with your earth element, I would recommend going for some walks, connecting with nature, hugging a tree, and to awaken that fire energy. Light a candle once in a while, in a safe way, of course, no fire hazards, but having a candle lit, connecting with the energy of that flame, maybe burning some incense, which is something I do whenever I do a reading. Just honor that fire energy. Or if you don't want to have an actual walk outside if it's too cold, or if you don't want to light candles for safety reasons, you could pick up an earth element or a fire element stone and get very much the same effect. So for earth element, that would be stones like jasper, fossils, smoky quartz, smoky topaz, black obsidian. For fire energy, that would be stones like sunstone, especially carnelian. But be playful, have some fun. You're here in this life to be a healer. You're very connected with sacred sounds, and you've already done a lot of the work necessary to awaken that. Now it's more just a matter of experiencing it, doing it, and in the month to come, starting to share it. To conclude your reading, I'll pick one of the cards from my favorite little purple deck, the Illustrated Crystallery. And the card, it's jumping up even as I turn it over. It's the card of Peridot with the message, so much life in you. Speaking of nature walks, this is like a nature walk in the form of an oracle card. This beautiful cup of plenty adorned with peridot gems represents all the wealth that you have within yourself already, and the importance of honoring your gifts, treasuring yourself, and sharing it with the world around you. All this greenery represents new life. It represents the abundance of springtime. And so even though I'm doing this reading right smack in the middle of winter, it's minus 20 degrees Celsius where I am right now, so we are not ready for this spring thaw quite just yet. But this card is showing you the life that bursts out from the ground in spring. That's basically like your nature. You are life. You are abundance. This is the quintessential element needed for somebody who's a healer. Having that joie de vivre, having that enthusiasm, and really radiating it. So imagine yourself to be this cup. When people take a sip, when people feel that energy that pours from you, It's never going to drain. It's always going to replenish itself, refill itself. And you definitely have healing gifts to share with the world. Peridot is a heart stone, and it really represents the love for all. Love for yourself, love for your neighbors, love for the animals with whom we share the world, love for the plants, love for the rocks and crystals, and the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in between. So thank you for shining your healing light in the world, Pile 2. Don't worry, you are going to be recognized for your gifts. You are going to be blessing the people around you. Your sounds are sacred. Remember to sing. So much love to you, and we'll see you in the next video. Happy New Year! Hello and welcome to your reading. You chose Pile 3. With this gorgeous raw amethyst crystal talisman that I have sculpted around with these little miniature handmade stones. Amethyst is a crown chakra gem, and it really helps us with our divine connection. So connecting to your higher self, to the universe, to the omnipotent, ever-present, effervescent, all-loving energy that surrounds us, helping you connect with that and become an emanation of that. Amethyst really is one of the highest frequency gems and one of the most recommended stones for healing. And I've put on the other side of this, surprise, a little hand sculpted face that I like to call the face of the night or the spirit of the sky. I've sculpted this in black clay and added a tiny little moonstone gem right in the center of the forehead, representing the mystic eye, not just the two physical eyes that are wide open with these long lashes, but also the eye that perceives dreams and visions and psychic encounters. I wanted to keep the features kind of androgynous. It can be male or it can be female depending on how you see this being. But the moonstone in the place of the third eye, kind of above the third eye, but the moonstone in the forehead, and the amethyst, which is kind of the back of the head representing the true being, is the most important. Now, if you chose this talisman, well, you're watching the Pile 3 reading, so because you chose this talisman, what I'm feeling for you at this moment in time when you're watching this reading is that you are connecting so much more deeply with the universe, with the night sky, with the moon, with the celestial bodies out there. You might be deepening your understanding of astrology, of your personal chart, of your personal existence, and connecting with the energy of amethyst, which is the crown center. I'll set aside the little purple deck, which is the illustrated crystallary, and we're going to look at the cards from the Crystal Ally Oracle for your main reading. And don't worry, at the end of this I'll pick a card from the little purple deck. That's always how I like to conclude my readings. Before I finish shuffling, I'll play a little singing bowl here, just to cleanse the space from the energy from Pile 2. And as I play the singing bowl, I'd like you to take a deep breath in, breathe out fully, setting the intention that whatever messages come through in today's reading come through from your higher guidance to serve your highest good. These aren't messages from me. As the reader, I'm just here to interpret the messages existence wishes to share with you. Wow, Pile 3. That was the highest pitched and the loudest of all the singing bowls, of all the times I've played the singing bowl today, which shows that you are tuning in and tapping into some very high frequency energy. as fits the amethyst you chose. I have to remember to start mixing up the cards on camera. I feel like when I start doing things and forget to put them on screen, it's kind of leaving you out when this is your reading, and that's not really fair, is it? So there you go. Give it one last cut. Now what we're going to look at for your reading today is a card of the present, the past, and the future. The present will be literally right now when you're seeing this video, back about 1 day, forward about 1 day. The past goes back about a month, and the future goes forward about a month. Present, we have Amethyst, Divine Connection. No surprise there. Past, we have Zincite with the message of creation. And future, the card of Lepidolite with the message of acceptance. All right, pile 3, I said you're tapping into some high frequency energy, but I didn't say it was going to be easy, did I? So all 3 of these cards are reversed, which shows that despite the fact that you're going through a very powerful awakening right now, part of you is resisting that awakening. When we see the card of Amethyst with the message of divine connection, we see this divine feminine form emerging from a cluster of amethyst crystals. She's up there in the clouds. You see this beautiful aura of light that could be a setting sun or a rising sun or a moon. She is one with nature, but she's not physical. We can see the clouds of the sky kind of permeating her body, kind of moving through her body, and her reflection on the water is just white light. It's not even a shadow or a rippling form, it's just that light. What the divine connection represents in this amethyst card is tuning into messages from a higher plane, whether that means hearing the voice of a spirit guide, connecting with ancestors, connecting with God, with Goddess, with saints, with whoever it may be you choose to forge that connection. When the card is reversed, what it's telling me is that you have a very strong intuition, but you are reluctant to believe in your own power. You have this divine connection. You just don't always trust this divine connection. If there's a powerful synchronicity that happens in your life where you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and you're rewarded for that synchronous experience. For example, you're going for a walk and you just randomly choose to change your direction. And because you change your direction, you find something, or you run into an old friend, or just some beautiful experience happens. For a split second, you might think, wow, it was my intuition that made me change directions. And because of that, this awesome thing has happened. But the reversal of the card shows your first instinct will be to say that was just a coincidence. That was just a coincidence. Don't get too excited. Don't feel too good about yourself. Don't celebrate the fact that you were guided. And that's kind of a dulling effect. It's making life a little bit less magical. Now, critical thinking is very, very important. It kind of acts as a way to keep us safe from being manipulated by spiritual predators. You know, having critical thinking, I don't mean to say start thinking magically all the time and take everything as a sign from existence and throw away your reason and follow nothing but mystical intuition. Don't plan for your future, just trust the universe. Like, no, critical thinking is important. But at the same time, honoring your spiritual connections and honoring those moments in life where you do feel nurtured and supported and guided is also very important. I was reading an article just yesterday And I'm so sorry I didn't save it, or else I would share a link for you, but maybe Google it and find this. It was about how spiritual health increases our life expectancy, and that when we have a belief in something greater than ourselves, it's actually good for us mentally and emotionally, and leads us to make better decisions when it comes to exercise and health and just the things that preserve us. When somebody is really critical of all the spiritual stuff that exists in life, that can kind of dull them, because nothing means anything more than face value. You know, the things that we do become dry and void of meaning. But when a stone is not just a stone, but also a talisman and a gift from Mother Earth and an energetic reminder of something higher, when a sunset is not just a sunset, but a painting in the sky made just for your eyes, when a coincidence is not just a coincidence, but a synchronicity, that's when the magic we yearn for in life comes into reality, and we feel that greatest fulfillment. And because you chose this talisman, I feel like it is a time in your life when you're yearning for that magic. When you look into the night sky, you're hoping that there's a benevolent, existent gaze smiling back down at you. It's already there. See, when these cards are reversed, it doesn't mean you don't get this, you didn't get that, you won't get this. It means these are the energies available in your life. The reversal only means you haven't chosen to accept them. So in the present moment, the Divine Connection card reversed means you are at a moment when your intuition is strong, your connection is strong, your crown chakra is already open and active. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to appreciate that and not feeling silly because of it. Just because there are skeptics out there doesn't mean that you have to be skeptical of yourself. The past, we see the card of creation represented by Zincite. What's really cool about this card is that the kaleidoscopic effect that we see in this beautiful crystal mandala, it's such that there is no such thing as upside down or right side up. It's geometrically symmetrical, no matter how we look at it. The card of creation represents your creative artistic expression. Fire element is an energy of passion and enthusiasm. And so when we see creation, fire element, reversed in the past, going back about a month, it shows that you've had some really incredible creative ideas, but you've let them remain ideas. You've had these awesome ideas, but you haven't actually made them or tapped into that creative flow and found a way to manifest these ideas. That doesn't mean you missed an opportunity. It just means you might have to work to get that enthusiasm back and that passion back. When we have a fire element moment in life, when we feel really excited and enthusiastic about something, it's important to act when that enthusiasm is hot, because the best time to make something is when you feel inspired to make it. If you wait too long, the energy kind of dissipates. And so you might have felt part of the reason this divine connection is less palpable, or that you're a bit skeptical, could be that you're feeling unfulfilled creatively. And so I would recommend pay attention to the synchronicities that happen in life. Pay attention when something feels like it was meant to be, and instead of talking yourself out of it and saying, well, of course it feels like it's meant to be because I want it to be meant to be, but I'm probably just wishfully thinking or fantasizing. No, allow yourself, I almost said the luxury of believing in these miraculous things. It's not a luxury, it's a right. Allow yourself what you have a right to experience, which is that sometimes blessings come into your life. Sometimes things seem too good to be true, but they're true and they're meant for you. And you get ideas that other people don't get because you are meant to be the creator of these ideas and other people are not. And if you have an idea, I feel like this is very important for you. If you picked pile 3, if you have an idea to do something and you're reluctant to do it because it's never been done before, remember, every innovation, every invention, every breakthrough happened because somebody had an idea for something that had never been done before and did it. I really feel that this is your goal in life. You're not just here to follow the rules and to stay on the course that's been laid out for you and to push your wheels through the tracks that have already been carved into the world. No, you're here to blaze a new trail. You're here to do something innovative and inventive and to change the game. I feel like the one element you need most is confidence. And trust your divine connection. Trust your creative ability. And in the future, go with the flow and accept what happens as a result of shining that light, creating your creations, connecting with your connections. When the card of acceptance appears, represented by the stone of lepidolite, reversed, it shows that you have been resistant to change, kind of struggling when things happen that are out of your control, where you feel kind of as if you've been ripped off by life. What I'm feeling is a bit of self-pity and a bit of disappointment. Like, oh, if I had done this thing that I had an idea to do years ago, I would have so much more right now, but now it's too late. It kind of feels like you're living with some regrets. And the key to moving forward is to accept that, say, when you had these great ideas, and guys, like for you, pile 3, the past no longer feels a month ago. It feels like this goes way back in your life. If you're feeling like ideas that came to you, potential was not really reached, the words are there. I just have to articulate them for you. The opportunities were not embraced when they first appeared for you. And you're having trouble accepting the fact that now in life you don't have as much as you would have had if you had fully taken advantage of the opportunities that were made available to you back then. What's important to remember is that genius does not dissipate just because you don't tap into it at the time when the idea first comes. It just means you have to regain your stamina, work a little bit harder to get that enthusiasm back. Whatever talent you've ever had, you still have. It's just a matter of deciding to use it. Like that expression, it's like riding a bike. Like you can go years without doing it, but if you learned how to do it once, you'll be able to do it again. It's important for you to regain your childhood creative passion. Remember, like when you were a little kid, if somebody gave you a piece of paper and a bunch of pencil crayons, you wouldn't sit there and think, well, what's the point of drawing something? Whatever I draw has already been done, or if it's too original or too unique, people won't be interested in it. No, like as a little kid, somebody gives you art supplies, you make something. I feel like now is the time for you to look back on ideas that you've had, whether it's artistic, creative, business related, in whatever field you had passion. Reawaken that passion and remember, life is like that childhood table, and all the resources available to you are like that blank piece of paper and box of pencil crayons. And you're here to experiment and to make things and to have fun. Life isn't just about going through the drudgery and following orders and conforming. Life is about exploring and playing. You have the right to some playfulness. This card is a very, very important one for you. I keep going back to it. It's hard even for me to move forward in the reading because it's so important for you to honor your inner creator and to make something special. So with the acceptance card, in order to, I feel like, in order to get what you have coming, in order to reap the rewards existence wants to shower on you because you're such an awesome being, accept where you are now. Accept that in the past you didn't always do what you felt called to do. Accept that when you made a decision, I feel like there were times when you've played it safe instead of taking a chance on yourself. You've done what you knew would be stable. Instead of beating yourself up for it and being annoyed, remember that at that time, you did what you felt you were supposed to do to take care of yourself. Honor those decisions from the past. It's not that you missed an opportunity. It's that you've postponed an opportunity and you still have the ability to make it into a reality now. If you're hearing this and you're thinking, well, I had an idea to do something once, that's definitely too late because somebody else has already done it. Remember, ideas come in multiples. It's not that you only get one good idea in life. Meditate, tune in, listen to your divine connection. Don't feel silly when you do things like that. And more ideas will come to you. You'll always have a second chance. As long as you're still alive, like, just do me a favor right now and ask yourself the question, am I alive? And you don't even have to wait for the answer of yes, because you're able to ask that question. You are alive. So guess what? That means you have another chance at everything. Accept all the choices that you've made that have led you to where you are right now. You have a divine connection. Embrace it. Just be happy that it's there. Don't second guess it. Don't tell yourself that it's stupid. It's not. It's legit. Enjoy it. You're a very creative person. Trust that your ideas come for a reason. And the moment you accept that and get in this flow, you're going to start feeling more and more opportunities. Now we have fire, air, and water element. That's creativity, intelligence, and compassion. The one element we don't see is earth element, which is resources, stability, home, work, bank accounts. When we don't see earth element, it means that one of the things that has driven you in life is the feeling like you have to have a safety net. You have to have ground under your feet. You have to have a home. You have to have stuff. And don't get me wrong, you do need those things in order to survive in our society. But those things should not come by sacrificing your creativity, your spiritual connection, or your mental health, like for accepting life for what it is. Wow, existence has not given me easy cards to read in this first reading of 2022. I think what this is telling us is that we have done a lot of hard work and now we're ready. We are ready to tap into the next level for our lives. We're ready to rediscover the things that inspired us in the past. We're ready to experience the fullness of our connections. We're ready to accept what is and move forward. I just love that the talisman you chose was the only one on my table today with amethyst, and your very first card was amethyst. That itself is a sign that you're connected to your divine connection. Okay, the last card of the reading for pile 3 from the Illustrated Crystallery. And it's the card that says, find your way home, represented by the stone of turquoise. It was reversed, which shows again that there's a bit of a struggle that you have when it comes to trusting yourself and honoring your messages and honoring your gifts. But how cool, does that sun not remind you of the mandala in the creation card? Find your way home means find your way back to yourself, to the truest version of you, to your creative inspiration, to your family, to where you are nurtured. Like this little bird bringing a little gift back to her young. It's time for you to find your way back to your ultimate truth. It's a very, very beautiful card. I'm not saying much because I feel like you're having ideas pop into your head by looking at this, and I don't want to disrupt your own flow. So I'm going to be silent and let you see this card. There you have it. You may even want to take a screenshot and keep this as a reminder to yourself. Such a beautiful way to end your reading. Thank you for joining me today in this pick a card, pick a talisman reading. Happy New Year. I hope 2022 rewards you with an abundance of new ideas, inspires you with your divine connections, and helps you not only just accept life for what it is now, but also find your way back to your highest truth. And when all of this is in balance, don't worry about the earth element. You'll get whatever you need in order to not only sustain, but also build on the greatness that you are. With so much love to you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.